All right, this is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil. I'm going to do two separate videos today. First one being on Quant, Tornado Cash, and Toshi. The next one being on XYO, XCN, XRP, all that good stuff. So we're looking at Quant, and we see that it hit nearly identical to the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement from its move upwards, moving or adjusting this line to the absolute top, right around that 618 area and that Fibonacci retracement. So now when we draw it down from the top down, you can see 618 would be right around $110. I believe we may see a little bit of consolidation. We did get immediate support off that orange line and this black downward trend line. This black downward trend line is the major support that we want to see and that we expected. We expected it to retrace back down to around 85, potentially even the $75 mark, crossing that line and being support. However, got more support on that line, which is looking more bullish. A lot of that has to do with what Bitcoin was doing. When we compare it to Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin actually pushed up to where I was talking about in the previous video, right up to around that $108,000 mark. It is getting a little bit of rejection. However, we just need to see a little bit more volume. Probably going to see a little bit more consolidation, judging by the RSI, bringing the lines a little bit closer together until it eventually either breaks the support or gets rejected back down, and we'd want to see it hold above the 101 area for Bitcoin. But looking back over at Quant, when we remove everything, we can see the bigger picture that it is actually at a very low point from what it was previously. The absolute low being around $41, but the high being around $429. So it's a potential 4x or 3x gain, but the decrease is a potential 50% decrease. However, with Bitcoin's bullish movement, if it does hold, we are going to see what we need to see. And putting back on all this stuff, removing Fibonacci, we can see the major point of touching right here. We need to see that touch to see a healthy market. It's getting some major support off that 200 EMA, which is very good news. I imagine a little bit of consolidation, potentially a higher low right here, before ultimately pushing back up to the 618 being around $280. But I believe it's going to push back past that up to 425, maybe get a little bit of rejection, and then have a continuation up to $1,000 to $1,500. So Quant being at 100, turning into 1,500 is not a bad bet. Just hold your bags for that. Tornado Cash. If you haven't bought Tornado Cash yet, not financial advice, but buy that. It washes your Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And who doesn't want to have decentralized finances instead of a centralized finance like XRP? So with Tornado, we got in originally at $7.52, I believe. And it's been pushing upwards ever since, holding this nice black trend line. It pushed underneath for a little bit, but got major support on the daily 200 EMA. The RSI is right at the 50 mark, right where it needs to be. It's touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times this top part. 1, 2, broke 3, 4, 5, 6 on the bottom. However, I believe this is just getting some consolidation before it gets a major push upwards. Looking back in the day, this is looking like a very nice cup and handle. It's long and drawn out, which means the push up is going to be very dramatic. Looking at the previous all-time high for Tornado Cash, it also has a very long way to go to get back up to its all-time high. The 618 being right here around the $280 mark as well. But keeping in mind, this is only roughly $10 right now compared to what Quant is being $100. So getting that push up to 280 if you're buying in at $10, even if you're gambling $10 for a potential 280, that is a very good bet, as we have seen some major pushes happen as soon as we get some stabilization over the 200 EMA. We've seen it happen in XCN, we've seen it happen in Quant, we've seen it happen in many cryptocurrencies. You don't think it's possible to be pushing up that percent, but say we're at 960, roughly 600 and 533% just to push up to $58. That's pretty substantial gains. This can be traded on MEXC, reference links below. Potentially use a VPN if you're worried about it, but they have the lowest trading fee platform of any platform I've seen, but do your own research. And lastly, Toshi. Toshi is looking like it's trying to form a cup and handle as well. It's getting some rejection off of this line when we zoom in. So we can't expect a further low with Toshi, as it is a meme coin. However, if it breaks this downward trend line, we could start seeing some potential move upward towards the 0.0008 again. We've seen it happen in Spell before, where it hits that high and then gets immediate rejection to a further low. So just keep in mind that this is a meme coin. Do not invest a whole bunch of money into this unless you're absolutely sure. Same goes with any cryptocurrencies. That's it for today. All references in the links below for Grass, Coinbase, KuCoin, Rollercoin, everything like that. So that's it for this one. I will start working on the next one. Good luck and have fun with it.